Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Film Thingy Podcast, the movie podcast where we pull apart the trivial, mock the nonsensical, and ludicrously fill in the blanks of your favourite movies.
He's John.
And that's Matt. Matt, what film we're discussing today?
This week, we're going to be discussing The Fast
and the Furious!
I just want to flash up a spoiler alert. We're going to be spoiling this film. Big time. Get on with the questions, mate.
Alright, let's get on with the questions. Okay, give me the plot in 10 words.
Oh, plot in 10 words. This has to be Fast and Furious, doesn't it?
It has to be so, yeah.
This has to be Fast and... This has to be the Fast and the Furious. Done it.
Is that the plot?
You tell me. You've seen it.
Sure, okay.
You watched it. I can do another one, just for
Yeah, just in case that doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
Let's go for another Fast and Furious plot in 10 words. Go.
A Vin Diesel vehicle, which is a pun, isn't it?
Yeah, cheers, I got that.
With some other guys doing racing.
Yeah, that's pretty good actually, yeah. Give us your review in 10 words, but still fast and still furious.
Okay. So incredibly fast, so incredibly furious. I thought it was good.
That's pretty good. I feel like we need to do this whole podcast, this episode, really fast and furious. Like, as hard and fast as possible for the whole thing.
This is going to be a 5-minute episode.
Yeah, I'm already exhausted and I ain't really said anything yet. I'm just listening to you. Favourite quote, Fast and Furious?
I don't even remember any specific quotes. Let's nos this shit. Is that one of them? Does he say that? And when I by he, I mean the main character.
Is Paul Walker? Would you class Paul Walker as a main character, or would you say Vin Diesel is?
I thought
Dominic
it was a police, but I was counting his superior officer as the main character.
Oh, you mean Buffalo Bill?
Yeah.
You noticed he just... How did they get Buffalo Bill to play a police sergeant who's interested in illegal street racing?
Is it Ted?
Ted Levine? Levine?
That's it, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I would count him as the main character. I assumed it was a spin-off from Silence of
Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, gotcha.
He just cleaned himself up.
Learnt about cars in prison.
Yeah.
In the site.
Or is it a prequel?
It's a prequel to Silence of the Lambs.
It's a side quill.
It's a sidestep. It's not ahead of time. It's not back in
it's
time. It's
coincidentally.
another... That's how he gets the women into the well in his house. He's a police officer and knows all about illegal street racing, but he also has the creepy panel van when he puts the pot on his hand and pretends to be slightly handicapped. Okay, next question.
Anyway, sorry. Sorry, his quote...
meant to be quick fire.
His quote there is when he goes, "Get the NAS in there," don't they?
Does he? I think I missed that, but it sounds like something Buffalo Bill would say.
It gets right up in Paul Walker's face, doesn't he?
Right.
And he goes, "It puts the lotion on the skin."
And then he hits the NOS again.
Give him a NAS.
Love it. Favourite character that's not Vin Diesel and not Paul Walker?
Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill, lovely. He isn't Vin Diesel or Paul Walker, so love it. Okay, Vin Diesel impression?
Ah, that's difficult. Hey, I'm Vin Diesel. Is that good? I was really I'm Chronicles of Riddick, man.
There is a line that he says.
Get the NAS in there.
There is a line that says, it's when Paul Walker came second in the first race.
Yeah.
And he's real smug because he nearly won. No, he's so stupid. And his fucking car's fucked as well. And he's just like, but he won't care because it's Buffalo Bill's car.
Buffalo Bill's
and police
money.
money, he don't give a shit. So he's lost 2G and the fucking tank.
It's like $85,000 car
on the cops. And he's like
please don't break you.
But Vin Diesel goes,
Ask any racer, there's only winning or losing.
Yeah, he's like Rocky Balboa.
Ask any boxer,
ask any racer, any real racer. Don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning. Don't sound like Vin Diesel though. Maybe if we do it in Groot.
I am Groot.
good Vin Diesel impression.
Ask any real razor. Brian fucking Blessed. Gordon's alive!
Okay, are you ready for the next question?
I am.
Would you fight Vince for a tuna sarnie white with no crust?
He's not really there for the tuna sarnie though, is he?
Ian, no one likes the tuna. That's my favourite quote, by the way. Bullshit, no one likes the tuna.
No. Why would I?
Just asking. It's a fair question.
Yeah.
Fair answer. Okay, last question. Fast and Furious reaction though, please, as usual. Could you beat Ja Rule in an illegal street race?
Probably.
Probably. He's shitting me. He's literally the worst out of all of those drivers in that first race.
I suppose you wanted me to get on with the thingy then, are you?
Yeah, I mean, despite the realistic plot and, you know, the high-octane scenes in the film itself, somehow you've managed to find a film thingy.
Hard to believe.
Hard to believe. So yeah, let's give it to me and the listeners. What is it?
I'm actually keen, just before we jump into it, I'm not trying to tease the listeners, but is it a favourite of yours? Is it an okay sort of?
It's not a favourite, no, but I'll be honest, I remember thinking it was okay when it came out, but I would have been 15 when it came out.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really interested in the story. It was women wearing not many clothes, it was people driving fast cars, it was people acting cool. And there is an element of coolness about the film, to be fair. Like, particularly at the time, it was quite a cool film, I guess. Rewatching it ahead of knowing that you were going to bring it to this episode, rewatching it a few days back, I actually enjoyed it. It's not, I won't say it's a bad film.
No, I agree.
And as always, we don't cover films we don't like, you know. On a fresh watch after probably 15 years since the last time I watched it, I enjoyed it.
It's quite exciting. There's at least a couple of interesting characters in there. Yeah. There's some good action sequences. Yeah. And yeah, there's enough of a story holding it together. But there is a thingy.
Shocking.
There's probably more than one thingy, and the listeners might choose to call us out on some more obvious ones.
Well, we want to hear them, don't we? We want people. We want the listeners to tell us what their thingies are, and if we have to somehow got it wrong.
Look, if we have to revisit the Fast and the Furious,
if we have to do the whole franchise, we'll do it.
If that's what the audience want, that's what they'll get.
And we'll do the spin-off. We'll do Hobbs and Shaw.
But again, there is a thingy. So it's early on in the film. Mm-hmm. We have met all of the main players, and we are in our initial street race. Paul Walker's character, Brian, decides that he's going to shoot his load early. He's going to nass it up, or whatever he shouts when he does it early. And he does 1-2 punches a nos. Shoots ahead of all the other racers. But then Dom, the experienced right driver, takes over him and wins the race. Paul Walker spins out. His car's totally wrecked, it would appear. There's all sorts of... We won't go into the detail, but there's all sorts of ridiculous warning signs all over the monitor in his car, telling him what the manifold's going to overheat or something, and half the bottom of the car falls out.
And he shuts it, doesn't he?
And
he shuts the laptop and goes,
like,
"Shut up!
Fuck off!"
Yeah.
As if that's going to stop any... Yeah. Which is really funny. But when he gets out, the car's all smirking. And Dom and Jesse, I think it is, say something along the lines of, it's blown its piston rings and requires the entire engine to be taken apart to repair it. And as we mentioned, that it says there's something wrong with the manifold as well. Mm-hmm. So there's quite significant damage to this car. He spun out, and yet, not 5 minutes later, he's bezzing down the road to go and pick up Dom and help him get away from the police. And then they drive off into the rival gang's territory, don't they? And then the car ends up getting shot to pieces anyway, doesn't it? The thing is, how did the car magically fix itself? Did the car magically fix itself? Was Dom totally wrong in his assessment and the car was absolutely fine? Is Dom not the mechanic he says he is? If you can't find a tool in this garage, you don't belong in here. Don't know what that means. That's what he says, something like that.
He does later in the film,
If you can't find a tool in this garage, you don't belong. If you don't know how to use any of my tools, you don't belong here. It might have been a more appropriate quote, but if you can't find a tool in here, you don't belong.
Then go out and buy them. It's probably the better line. Yeah. If you can't find the tool you want, I'll go B&Q. I'll go Halfords.
Yeah. I'll get myself down to Halfords. I've got a points card.
Yeah, I bet he has. Yeah, he'll be fucking racking them up, won't he? Yeah.
Didn't even need the heist in the end because it was all on his fucking Halford points cards.
He goes, I just want to cash this in, please.
There you go, that doesn't matter.
I can't, it's not... I can't do that.
I goes, I'll have one of them then. And he drives home with 2 canoes.
2 canoes and a leaf blower.
Halfords.
From Halfords.
Is it a plot hole? Have I accidentally brought us into plot hole territory? I apologise if I've veered off lane.
Well, I guess we'll find out through the discussion. I don't think so. And I'm just so that I'm clear. We know Brian, Paul Walker's character, loses the race. They pop his hood, he loses the bet. He owes him the car. Then one of Dom's crew, I believe, gets a raid because he's tapping the police radios, isn't he? To keep an eye out. He gets the call to say the police are aware there's illegal street racing. Shit, it's the cops! And everyone scarpers. So how was it fixed? How was the car decided to work?
The question is, how is the car now working?
Okay.
And I see there's 2 possible options. One is that we have a magic car situation on our hands.
Likely.
A Herbie, if you will.
A Herbie.
The other is that, more likely, Dom is full of shit and he doesn't know shit about cars. He's bullshitted it all along. He's going, you're going to need 400 brake, you're going to need pistons and shit. He's saying all that, he's telling him everything he needs. And he just doesn't know anything about engines. And Paul Walker's like, and he's still smiling like a fucking bellend.
Yeah, I've just lost an 80 grand car in 2 days.
Super small. And he's not along because he doesn't know anything about cars either. Because the police department's sorted him out. So they're both just nodding along to each other about all this car talk. And everyone's around them thinking, they don't know what they're talking about. That car's fine to drive. Paul Walker gets, half a mile down the road, walking away because he thinks I'll leave the car there. It's not going to work anyway. And then he goes back and he tries it. And he goes, oh no, that's alright. Dom just got it a bit wrong. Which might explain why Dom's having to do all this illegal shit. Because actually his garage business is really bad because cars keep coming in and he just fucks them up.
Because he makes them worse.
Yeah, he
actually
doesn't know anything about engines. So he's what they call engine blind, so he doesn't recognise any of the parts.
Is that an industry phrase? Engine blind? Is that industry wide? Is that like technical?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got Dom Toretto, who's built himself a reputation
as a massive petrol head.
Bit of a hard man. So he's basically a fraud, right? So he's a hard man. He's done a couple of years' time for beating a guy up almost to death.
Yeah, who killed his dad.
Yeah, I can get on board with it. But he's now so far into this lie that he can't back out to save face, and probably what would cost him business.
Yeah, so he's got himself into a point where he's been watching his dad fix cars, and his dad's been going, look, I've got a ratchet there, son. I'm going to screw that piston on. And Dom's taking all the words in, but he just can't see any of it. He's totally engine blind. He can't. He's thinking, yeah, I'm getting it, Dad. I'm getting all the words. When he puts his hands out in front of his face and there's an engine near it, he can't even see his fingers. Is that bad?
Yeah.
What's really tragic is he doesn't know that he doesn't know.
And yeah, he doesn't know he's engine blind. He thinks he's right.
Yeah.
Jesse's like, Dom passes the ratchet, and he just gives him a cup of tea, doesn't he?
He just squirts
But Jesse's too nice to sit.
Sweet boy.
Really intelligent.
Yeah.
They're all a bit afraid of Dom as well, so no one's going to call him out for it, apart from Brian, probably.
Yeah.
But Brian doesn't know fuck all about cars either. So it's blind leading the blind.
Engine blind.
Engine blind leading the engine blind.
Exactly. So that's a possibility. I do want to return, if we may. Let's just circle back to our Herbie situation, magic car.
Could be.
Does Herbie heal himself in the original films?
I don't know. But
let's say he does.
I would like to say, for the purposes of this to make sense, or even less sense, whichever way you see it, is that he has the ability to heal himself.
Yeah.
Or he has the ability to communicate to someone who can fix him.
He's a sentient being, is Herbie. He has feelings. He knows that he's alive.
Nice kid.
Yeah, he's a cat, I remember.
Yeah. But he could be young. When I say kid, I mean like in terms of age.
Yeah, sure.
So it could be a youngish cat.
Can a sentient being, if they were like fucked, repair themselves. If you lost your pistons, would you be able to do enough in maybe 5-10 minutes to get yourself back on the road again?
I can't do enough in 5 or 10 minutes with my pistons, Matt.
That's a problem because how does this car, this Herbie, if you will, is it a Mitsubishi?
I don't know. It's green.
Is it a Mitsubishi Eclipse, is what Brian drives, which is the potential to be a magic car at this point. It's a Herbie.
But Herbie, he calls himself Mitch.
Yeah.
Mitsubishi. Sorry. Mitsubishi.
Don't you want to go by Eclipse or Eclipse? No, I want to go by Mitch.
Mitch
the Mitsubishi. Mitch the Mitsubishi.
Sorry.
Sorry, Herbie could never talk, but Mitch the Mitsubishi can.
Yeah, because he's not Herbie, he's his own person. He's his own sentient being.
He's talking through the laptop.
Yeah.
It's himself, he's screaming, he's going, "My manifold!"
And that's when Paul tells him to shut up, because he can actually talk to the car.
Fucking hell. So when Vin Diesel signed on to this film, it was originally a reimagining of what would happen if Herbie was put into an illegal street race.
Yeah,
and caught up in a big crime heist.
Yeah, crime ring.
We'll bring it up to speed. We'll give him a computer. He can talk through that, a bit like Kit from Knight Rider.
Yeah, we can't call him Herbie because that's
licensed. Yeah,
trademark. We can't use that. We'll have to call him something else.
Vin Diesel says, "Have you thought about calling him Mitch?"
Why is that, Vin?
Mitsubishi. Do you mean Mitsubishi? Well, I said Mitsubishi. Don't they? And then the producer turns to the other producer and goes, "How desperate are we to get Vin Diesel in this movie? He's pretty hot right now. He's bald.
He was in Pitch Black.
That was pretty good. But he wants to call the car Mitch because he thinks it's pronounced Mitsubishi."
So they say, "All right, Vin, we'll come to a compromise. We'll put Mitch in the film, but under no circumstances can you talk to him directly and call him Mitch.
But he'll be called Mitch."
Yeah, we'll write it on his name tag in the inside of the car, around the gear stick. They pull Paul Walker aside and go, "Just want to brief you in on this, Paul, before the first day of filming. Vin's not very well." Vin's not very well. He's having another one of these episodes where he thinks he can talk to cars.
Sorry, I need to... The original story is that they're remaking Herbie, but they're not licensed to do it. They're bringing it into the 21st century. Herbie's now a street racing car that can talk. Yeah. That's the plot.
Yeah.
Vin Diesel, independently of this film being written, thinks he can talk to cars in real life. So he gets Wendy's agents, tossing a few scripts his way. They're going, "You done great, Vinny. You're gonna be the next big star." And
we got just a thing for you, Vinny.
And he goes, "Wait a minute, what's this? Talking cars? I talk cars." His agent goes, "Not this again, Vinny." He drops his New York accent, whatever it was, Chicago accent. He drops his Chicago accent. "Not this again." He goes serious and he goes, "Not this again, Vinny." This almost got him kicked off the set of Pitch Black.
So
but they get into it.
It's a match made in heaven.
Yeah,
right?
he loves it. He can't wait. The producers are thinking, this is great. This guy's up and coming. He's bald, so that's a win.
2001, all bald. The Mitchell brothers.
Yeah.
Michael Chiklis. Bruce Willis.
He's been around for a bit by that point.
Yeah, but he's been bald for quite a while before.
True.
That.
Yeah.
But he was still doing good films at that time. Bald.
There's a lot of bald, famous bald people out there, and they're cashing in on that.
Not obviously. Just in 2001, even now, there's still bald people.
Well, it all kicked off. They thought, let's get in on this.
Yeah.
Early 2000s, maybe late 90s, they're thinking, it's really happening, guys.
Yeah. No one buys wigs anymore.
If there's a bald actor out there who likes cars a bit, we might be cashing in here. In walks Vin. They think this is a match made in heaven. He thinks this is definitely a match made in heaven, and I need to convince these guys that this car is called Mitch. They buy it to an extent. They buy that the car's called Mitch.
They know there's a bit of money there, so they're happy to go along with it to an extent until it goes to a dangerous level.
Yeah, they don't want him to be getting attached to this vehicle. Yeah. And also, obviously, as we've said, he thinks he can talk to this vehicle for real. So I think there's an element of they play along with that, and maybe sometimes there's somebody hidden under one of the seats typing messages to him on the computer.
How small is this person who's hidden under one of the seats?
I think maybe they've got a blanket on.
proper duped him, aren't they?
Yes and no, because they're sort of fulfilling a bit of his... I suppose they're making him feel better about this. They're not...
The condition.
Yeah, yes, they're using it. Maybe it's exploitative, I'm not sure. So, that's going on behind the scenes. In the film, they film quite a lot of this. Mitch is a real Mitch. I'm going to say Mitch, even though in the film they don't really call him Mitch.
No, because it was in the contract that...
It would be called Mitch, but they're not.
Yeah,
they're not going to refer to it in the film. So they film a lot of scenes with Mitch the Mitsubishi. Paul Walker's police purchased car.
Yeah,
is sentient. Helps Paul win. Maybe tries to warn him through the computer and starts to tell him,
yes,
my manifold's going to go.
Don't do the
all
NOS.
This sort of thing. Don't do the NOS, and he's going NOS it, and they're going don't do the NOS. How does Mitch the Mitsubishi then recover at the end of the race? In this version, Dom is a good mechanic. The pistons are definitely broken. They're going to need to rebuild this engine. That car's not moving. It's a brick. It's an enormous dead weight now.
Yeah, smoke going everywhere.
Big pile of steel. How does Mitch recover from that? Blowing its piston rings.
Yeah, or rings.
So if you blown your ring, you can still crack on.
If I've blown my ring, I can crack on, but uncomfortably.
In that case, then Mitch is able to crack on, but uncomfortably.
So is he able to fix himself? Is he able to communicate with someone to fix him?
Oh, he could tell Paul.
That's what I mean. So what if he tells Brian, he's like, I'm out, I'm tapping out here, mate, you're going to have to go on foot. And he goes, Mitch, cut that out, guys. Mitch, cut that out, guys. He keeps forgetting, doesn't he? He keeps forgetting and goes, all right.
Vin's been talking to him.
Yeah, he's programmed Paul Walker.
Hey Paul, how's Mitch doing?
Yeah.
Doesn't he? And he goes,
no,
Mitch is the Mitsubishi.
He's going, Vin, we can't say that around here.
We're about to roll.
It's in your contract. Just to think about it, Vin. Mitch, what we're going to do here, mate, the feds are here, you're blowing smoke, your piston ring's gone, what we're going to do? I don't know, Paul, just get in, see what happens.
Calls him Paul.
he goes, fucking hell, Mitch, remember we're shooting. And he goes, but you can't call me Mitch while we're shooting.
It's not a real sentient car.
Isn't it? How do we know?
Oh, Jesus, we've blown it right open, haven't we? Is Vin Diesel right all along, and can he really talk to this car? It's not a real sentient
I think Vin Diesel is delusional. He thinks he can talk to Mitch. But Mitch is a real sentient car, and Paul Walker is a Mitsubishi whisperer. Call me a liar.
Prove it to nothing.
You can't tell me Paul Walker is not a Mitsubishi whisperer.
You think Paul Walker can whisper to Mitsubishis only?
Maybe not Mitsubishis only.
And this one happens to be sentient, or they all are?
I think he's special. I think he's a sentient being. Do
the producers know that they've...
I don't think so.
In this remake of Herbie, they've accidentally procured a sentient Mitsubishi Eclipse?
Or is it just simply the fact that they've sold Vin Diesel a lie to get him into the film? They've gone along with it, thinking, get Mitch in, but we won't call him Mitch on set.
But the irony is
that it's real. The secondary main character, Paul Walker's character Brian, inadvertently realises that he can talk to the car.
Sorry, now it's Brian, the character, that can talk to the cars, or is it Paul Walker?
Take your pick.
So, the problem that we have is, it depends how deep it is, how deep it goes. Is it a real sentient Mitsubishi Eclipse that Paul Walker can whisper to and sort of creates a bond with it, and then perhaps Vin Diesel, who thinks he's talking to it, is it Paul Walker hidden underneath the seat, blanket over his head, typing answers because he can hear what this Mitsubishi is trying to say back to Vin Diesel, who he himself thinks he can communicate with it? Or is that too far-fetched?
I think it's realistic.
Or is the car was never real, it's never sentient in real life, but it is in the film, in the story, and Brian can speak to it through the laptop. But they cut all of that out.
In the editing room.
There's no sentient car at all. It leaves an awfully big film thingy.
Yeah, and we wouldn't be talking about it now if they hadn't have done that, I suppose, so it's good for us.
It magically heals itself, but it would make a lot more sense if that car, quote-unquote Mitch, but not really for legal reasons, tells Brian how to quickly fix him help him on his way, patch him up, 2-minute job, get back on the road, pick up Dom, escape the police, drive into enemy territory.
So they're driving into enemy territory by accident. Johnny Tran's brother on motorbike with some of the other guys say, follow us. They pull up on their patch. All that way, Mitch is trying to speak. He's trying to speak to Brian, but Brian shut the laptop.
He doesn't want Dom to know.
Exactly. So Brian knows.
I got it. He's lost a race on purpose initially to give the car to Dom so that Mitch can monitor Dom covertly and basically do Brian's job for him.
Yeah, because he's undercover.
Yeah. What better undercover than a car that's sentient for a petrol head?
Good point. Yeah. Dom and Jesse offering to rebuild the car. Well, because Brian's fucked the car.
Yeah.
To an extent, but not. It's fucked. The piston rings have gone and everything, but Mitch is still all there.
Yeah.
Mitch still knows he's still running the show inside.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a few, some of the bells and whistles have come off, so to speak.
Still loose.
So, he's blown it enough so that it's still usable.
So it was all they were all in cahoots in doing the double NOS and the manifold.
So you've got Mitch the sentient car, Brian the undercover cop, and Buffalo Bill, his boss, all in cahoots against Toretto.
And this is where it becomes a tragedy, because shortly after they meet Johnny Tran and Johnny Tran's gang,
you think they're going to get away with it, don't you? You think
Brian's thinking Dom's going to have this car, the whole operation's going to succeed.
They say, hey O'Connor, you owe me a 10-second car, and then Johnny Tran's like, it's nobody's car, and then they all drive off, don't they?
Brian's gone, phew. Mitch is going, oh good, thank God.
He's going.
The plan's all right.
The lid of the laptop's going.
And the bonnet. The bonnet's the exhaust going a bit. The exhaust quivering.
Yeah.
And he's thinking, shit, that was squeaky exhaust time.
Yeah.
And Brian's thinking, well, we've done it. We've smashed that.
Yeah.
But I've won Dom's trust. I've given him this car. This whole ploy couldn't have gone better.
He's rubbing the back of Mitch, going, "You've done well there, mate." Because he's going to take us to a house party soon. I can go speak to his sister as well, because
he's got an eye on that side.
He's eating the tuna sandwiches now, and he doesn't really like. He's allergic to tuna.
But Johnny Tran comes back and tragically murders a sentient being.
Murders Mitch. They blow the fuck out of it, don't they?
What were the writers thinking when they wrote that in? So in the original story, before they cut out all the sentient car, magic car business, that was effectively Brian losing his goose. His goose to his maverick, effectively, at that point.
Well, they were clearly trying to fast track the relationship between Dominic Toretto and Brian O'Connor. We've set this film up where there's a sentient car. We've got Vin Diesel on board who thinks it's real because he's a fucking Fruit Loop. Paul Walker playing Brian, who's playing along with it for Vin's sake, but knowing full well that in the story it is a sentient car.
Yeah.
So Brian and Paul, both the same person, he's got a foot in both camps, in reality and in the film.
Yeah.
So he's having to manage, he's having to juggle a lot of plates, as we like to say on this podcast. And the producers then say, behind the scenes, they go, this isn't really working, three's a crowd, we need to ditch Mitch.
And they all gather round and they go, ditch, Mitch, ditch, Mitch, ditch, Mitch.
Put him in a ditch.
Mitch, put him in a ditch and ditch, Mitch, ditch.
And Johnny Tran's guys shoot him up, and that scene was probably not meant to be there.
It wasn't meant to, so the original film was the three of them, they were doing a sentient car, a couple of guys about town.
No, because initially Brian is getting the sentient car to be won by Toretto so he can go undercover and see him through the laptop. So Toretto's going to drive this car, Mitch is going to report back, and that's how he's going to get him. And then they go...
It's a bit convenient.
But maybe a bit far-fetched. So they made the decision during shooting, during production.
We wouldn't even need Paul Walker at this point, they were thinking. We might as well just have it be the Mitch and Dom show.
Yeah.
They realise they've already paid the fee for Paul Walker. They can, if they wreck the car, they can probably claim back on the insurance, to be fair.
And if they get rid of Paul Walker, then the only love story in the film will be ditched, apart from the obvious love story between Brian and Mitch.
Yeah, and Mitch can't fall in love with Mia because he's a cat.
Yeah, he can't eat a tuna sandwich, can he? Sentient being.
Chuck it into his...
Cut the crust off, it'll be alright.
Yeah, just mash it down with his bonnet, couldn't he?
That's why he keeps going for the tuna sandwiches as well. They're not for Brian.
They're for Mitch.
He keeps secking the crusts off because he knows Mitch can't eat them with the crusts on. He goes, Mia, strange request today. Can you blend that tuna sandwich for me and just put it in a takeout cup? And he just goes and pours it in the windscreen wiper. Gets a funnel. Does a funnel from the back as well, Mia. Just funnels it straight into the windscreen wiper fluid.
He loves
He's
it.
rubbing it on. It's smearing tuna mayo all over his windscreen. Mitch is going...
But he loves it.
He loves it. Can't get enough. So it goes 2 weeks on the trot. Vince shows up. Bullshit. No one likes the tuna mayo. Brian's thinking, shit, they've busted us here. And instead they get into a street fight. But all that time, he thinks, I've got to street fight Vince because it'll blow Mitch's cover.
Meanwhile, the writers and producers are thinking, this plot's not working anymore. This part's not working anymore. We can't have so much... It can't be so Mitch heavy because we've already spent a lot of money on Paul Walker and Vin Diesel. We need these two guys to... Do you know what? Behind the scenes, they seem to be getting along quite well. Vin keeps going and sitting in the car and you'll see Vin sort of like sitting there for an hour or two. Paul's nowhere to be found. Vin will leave, he'll pat the car on the top, and then 2 or 3 minutes later, Paul will slip out because he's been right in the answers, haven't they, underneath the seat.
Yeah.
And he'll slip out. So they must be doing something in there. They must be having a nice time in there together. So they must be close. So we can move that onto the screen and ditch Mitch, as we've said.
Yeah.
Completely. That'll work for the plot nicer. Gives Brian a reason to continue being in the film, because at this point you could have just ditched him and said, well, Mitch is going to solve our problems and feed straight back to Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
So we need to get rid of Mitch.
How sad.
It's quite upsetting actually when you think about it. And the original cut must have been absolutely tragic. It must have been really awful. I mean, I bet I didn't test well with audiences.
I wonder how Vin took it when they told him that Mitch was not going to be in the film anymore after the first 20 minutes.
I wonder if they maybe let him take the car.
Maybe. They owed him a 10-second car. That wasn't a quote from the film, but he was talking to the director who was behind the camera. He's going, you owe me a 10-second car. And it's like, fucking hell, I'm going to have to edit the shit out of this film, aren't I, to make this work now.
It's a nightmare shoot.
Nightmare shoot. So many behind-the-scenes issues. Went down like a sack of shit.
We probably shouldn't have hired a movie star who is obsessed with talking cars. That was our error.
Yeah.
That was our error, guys.
And then another actor.
Humour in it so much. And this explains why Vin Diesel and Paul Walker had such a strong relationship throughout the rest of Paul Walker's life.
Because Paul Walker, and as Brian O'Connor as well, was humouring him. He was facilitating behaviour.
Yeah. Realistically, he's enabling him a little bit.
Yeah.
The studio are exploiting him. Paul Walker's enabling him. I don't know where I stand with it in sentient cars.
And Vin got to keep Mitch. He got his 10-second car. So,
in
theory,
actually.
Everyone's happy. They probably earned a lot of money out of the film. I don't know how much it taken.
No, it was quite a good box office.
I imagine it was, and they've got 10 films out. They've rinsed 10 films out of that.
Paul Walker gets more screen time. He's happy as Larry. He's like, great, I can do the rest of the film. I'll solve the crime myself. I'll help everybody out. I'll let him get away at the end, etc. Film plays out. Story plays out as now planned. But we've lost something probably there from movie history in that Herbie reimagining. And of course, Mitch Abissi isn't part of a film history now.
Well, it can be now. Now we've got to the bottom of it, and kind of we know his truth, don't we?
Yeah, it's quite a sad one actually.
It is. I wasn't really expecting for it to be emotional. This one, no. I feel really sad. Are you alright?
Yeah, it's just some fluff in my eye. It's just a bit of dirt in my eye. I'm fine. I think we should all pour one out for Mitch.
Should we raise a glass to Mitch?
Yeah, raise a glass to Mitch.
We don't have. I have an empty.
Raise an oil can.
Or a blended tuna sandwich for Mitch.
Yeah.
Let's all have a tuna sandwich for Mitch. Not right now, because we don't have the facilities.
Now I've got an empty mug.
Should we do a... There we go. I've got an empty novelty mug. And I'm going to have a tuna sandwich for Mitch tonight. Won't blend it.
That was Fast and Furious.
It really was. It was intense.
There was a lot going on there. a real lot.
Yeah.
More than I probably wanted.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting us to get to the bottom of it so quickly, actually, as well.
Yeah, we narrowed it down quite quickly. There was a couple of choices, but...
Lots to unravel.
I think we've gone with the more reasonable...
Likely.
Yeah.
The more likely option,
suggestion.
yeah.
For anyone who's maybe a little bit unsure of where we landed in the end, we need one of our 30-second summaries, I think.
Yeah, let's do the 30-second summary. Producers want to remake Herbie.
With streetcars.
Can't get the rights.
Vin Diesel thinks he can talk to cars.
The studio want him from the role.
Because he's bald.
They exploit his vehicular communication condition.
Otherwise known as VCC.
They agree to call the car Mitch.
But not on screen.
Under no circumstances on screen.
He loves tuna sandwiches.
White no crust.
Nice.
Paul Walker enables Vin's behaviour.
They become fast friends.
Nice.
The studio realise the story is utter shit.
Decide to ditch Mitch.
Vin gets to keep the car.
Walker gets the limelight.
R.I.P. Mitch.
Poor Mitch.
Poor bastard.
Guys, we want to know what you think. We want to hear from you. We want to cover your film thingies. We want to know what your favourite films are and any film thingies that you might see. So drop us a message. Drop us a message on our Instagram page. We're going to do a weekly poll if we can to see what you want us to cover. And if you've got any of your suggestions as well, send them in.
Do we want tuna sandwiches this week?
That's the point. We'll organise a tuna sandwich cheers for Mitch. We'll do it from our Instagram page, and we want everyone who's enjoyed the episode, who feels Mitch has been hard done to, we want a tuna sandwich cheers for Mitch. We'd really appreciate it. I'm sure Mitch would.
Mitch the Mitchavist.
You don't have to blend them.
Well, thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, guys. It's been a pleasure as always. We hope you join us next time for another episode of the Film Thingy Podcast.
Meow.